In Dubai, a city wrapped in golden light and hiding secrets behind glass towers, the most expensive wedding of 2024 lasted just 14 hours. It ended only 47 minutes after the ceremony. By the next morning, the bride was found murdered and the groom had vanished. What began as a celebration costing over $500,000, hosted in an open-air palace overlooking the sea, turned into one of the city's darkest crime scenes. At first, police believed it to be a crime of passion, a heated argument, a loss of control, a tragedy born from emotions that boiled over. But they were wrong. This wasn't just a moment of rage. It was a plan. A 2-year operation carefully crafted by someone who knew exactly what he was doing. Both the killer and the victim were in the same place, at the same time, for a reason. And that reason wasn't love. Welcome to True Crime Anatomy. I'm your host. And tonight, we uncover one of the darkest psychological games ever played behind the closed doors of the Middle East's most luxurious neighborhoods. If you're new here, hit subscribe, because the story you're about to hear will make you question everything you think you know about love, tradition, and illusion perfection. This case made international headlines. But the real story, the mental chess game that had been unfolding quietly over 2 years, was never told in full. Let me introduce you to Ahmad. He was 31 years old, a successful real estate developer, a millionaire by the age of 25, and heir to one of Dubai's oldest merchant families. To those who knew him, Ahmad was the definition of a perfect Emirati man, respectful to his elders, generous with his friends, polished in manners, and deeply traditional in his values. But behind that carefully controlled exterior, there was something else, something darker, something obsessive. Inside his private study, behind locked doors and far away from public eyes, Ahmad kept journals, not business logs, not financial records, but detailed handwritten notes, notes about women, about their behavior, about how to test their integrity. For the past 3 years, Ahmad had been running something he called purity investigations, a disturbing system where he would deliberately seek out educated, independent women, the type he believed represented the moral decay of modern society. He would then investigate their pasts, try and expose what he saw as dishonesty or impurity, relationships, secrets, anything that contradicted the image they presented. He exposed 3 women this way. No, he didn't kill them, but he didn't need to. He destroyed their social lives completely. The pattern was always the same. First, he hired private investigators. Then, he made contact through fake social media profiles, slowly infiltrating their social circles. He'd gather psychological profiles, chat logs, old photos, anything that helped him build a full picture of who they were and who they used to be. Once he had enough, he'd release that information strategically. Public shaming, targeted leaks, orchestrated scandal. Their reputations? Gone. But everything changed when he met Layla. She wasn't just another target. She would become his wife, and eventually his victim. For the first time, Ahmad didn't want to expose someone. He wanted to possess her, control her, marry her. And that's when the story takes a terrifying turn. You see, by this point, Ahmad wasn't just some elite man with a twisted hobby. He had become something far more dangerous. A believer. He genuinely believed that what he was doing was righteous, that if he could cleanse Dubai of impure women by exposing, or in this case, marrying them, then he was performing a holy act. Marriage first, exposure later. That was his new logic. And so he waited, planned, watched. For 2 years, he orchestrated every detail. The first meeting, the charm, the friendship, the courtship. He manipulated everyone around him, her friends, her family, even her co-workers. He built the perfect fantasy, the dream man, the dream life, the dream wedding. The grand celebration with lavish decor, emotional speeches, smiling guests, and endless praise. It was all fake. Every smile in that wedding was carefully constructed. Behind all the joy was a plan that only Ahmed knew the ending to. That ending came 47 minutes after they said, "I do." The lavish wedding ceremony had concluded. The ballroom in the Dubai luxury hotel echoed with laughter, clinking glasses, and the flash of cameras. The bride, wearing a designer gown, looked every bit the part of fairy tale princess. The groom, a successful entrepreneur from a well-respected family, stood proudly beside her. To the guests, it was a perfect match, one made in heaven. But as the night wore on and the crowd began to thin, the perfect image began to shatter. As the couple entered their penthouse suite, the groom seemed unusually quiet. The bride noticed, but chalked it up to exhaustion. However, she was unaware of the internal storm brewing inside her husband. Moments before the wedding, he had received a phone call from an anonymous number. The voice on the other end claimed to have information about his new wife's hidden life, one that she had taken great care to bury. At first, he had dismissed it as a prank, but as he was shown digital evidence, photos, messages, and documents, his world began to fall apart. Everything he believed about his new wife, from her background to her personality, was suddenly in question. As they entered the suite, the groom confronted her calmly. He asked about her past, her life before moving to Dubai, and the people she used to associate with. The bride hesitated, deflected, even tried to laugh it off. That's when he showed her the evidence. At first, she went pale. Then she panicked. She tried to explain that it was all behind her, that she had changed, that she had run from a dark past to find a new beginning. But to him, this wasn't just deception. It was betrayal. The argument escalated. Voices were raised. According to reports from hotel staff, loud shouting was heard from the penthouse suite around 1:30 a.m. Then suddenly, silence. By morning, hotel management entered the room after receiving no response to multiple calls. What they found was horrifying. The bride lay motionless on the bed, her gown torn. There were signs of a struggle: broken furniture, shattered glass, bloodstains. The groom was nowhere to be found. Authorities were immediately called. A citywide manhunt began. CCTV footage showed the groom leaving the hotel at approximately 2:15 a.m., wearing a different outfit and carrying a small bag. His passport and wallet were missing. It was clear this was not a spontaneous act. He had planned his escape. But what had driven a man, just hours into his marriage, to commit such a gruesome crime? Investigators dug deeper into the bride's past. What they found was startling. She had lived under a different name in another country before coming to Dubai. She was involved with a criminal syndicate known for fraud, identity theft, and blackmail. She had escaped that life. But someone from her past had sent the groom a warning. A digital ghost had returned to haunt her on the very night she thought she had outrun her past forever. Some say the groom was manipulated by whoever sent that message. Others believe he couldn't handle the truth about the woman he married. Whatever the case, the dream wedding had turned into a real-life nightmare. And the city of Dubai was left reeling from one of the most shocking crimes in its recent history. The grand wedding ceremony had just ended. The lights of Dubai twinkled like 1,000 stars outside the luxurious hotel suite. Family and friends had returned to their rooms. It was supposed to be the most magical night of their lives, the beginning of forever. But for Ayan, something didn't feel right. As he and Zara entered their honeymoon suite, the atmosphere shifted. The joy and celebration of the past few days faded into something colder, something tense. Zara excused herself to the bathroom, leaving Ayan alone. He looked around the room. The expensive flowers, the golden decor, the champagne, it all felt surreal. But his heart was uneasy. A few days earlier, Ayan had received a message from an unknown number. The sender warned him not to marry Zara. They claimed she was hiding something serious. At the time, Ayan dismissed it as jealousy or a prank. But tonight, the words echoed in his head. His curiosity got the better of him. While Zara was in the bathroom, Ayan picked up her phone from the nightstand. It wasn't something he normally did, but this time he had to know her phone wasn't locked. His hands trembled as he opened her messages. That's when everything began to fall apart. He found chats with a man named M. The messages weren't old. They were recent, just days before the wedding. And they were romantic, passionate, even explicit. Ayan's heart sank. His worst fear was becoming reality. Zara had been seeing someone else, right up until their wedding. He scrolled further. Voice notes, pictures, even travel bookings. A hotel in Dubai, just last week, with the same man. It wasn't a fling. It was a full-blown affair. Zara stepped out of the bathroom, dressed in her bridal nightgown, smiling. She saw the phone in Ayan's hand. The smile vanished. "Ayan, it's not what you think," she started. But it was too late. "What am I thinking, Zara?" Ayan's voice shook. "That my wife was with another man a week ago? That she planned this whole wedding while lying to me?" Zara tried to explain, but Ayan had already walked past her. His heart was racing, his world collapsing. Every promise, every vow, now felt like a cruel joke. Zara followed him, begging him to listen, but Ayan was in no mood. He stormed out of the suite and headed downstairs, ignoring the stares of hotel staff. That night, Ayan didn't sleep. Zara tried calling him again and again, but he refused to pick up. The next morning, he returned to the suite. Zara was there, her eyes swollen from crying. She tried again. "Ayan, I made a mistake. It was over with him. I was confused, scared. You thought you could marry me while sleeping with someone else," he shouted. Silence filled the room. "I loved you," he said. "I trusted you." Zara sat down, sobbing. Ayan left again, this time for good. The wedding that had cost millions. The marriage that was supposed to last a lifetime. It ended within 24 hours. But that was just the beginning. In the days that followed, the scandal exploded. Someone leaked screenshots of Zara's messages. Her affair was no longer a secret. It was a public scandal. The media got involved. Her family tried to control the damage, but it was too late. Ayan filed for annulment. Zara disappeared from the public eye. But things took a darker turn. 2 weeks later, Zara was found dead in a hotel room in Sharjah. Initial reports suggested suicide, but the circumstances were suspicious. There were no pills, no note, but there was bruising, a broken phone, and traces of another person's DNA. The man from the messages, M, was gone, vanished. No one knew who he was. Police opened an investigation. Zara's story, which had started as a fairy tale, ended in tragedy. And the man she was with? Still a mystery. The wedding, the betrayal, the death, all within 1 month. One decision, one secret. And everything changed forever. As police delved deeper into the case, their investigation quickly turned into a nationwide sensation. The brutal murder of a young bride in Dubai on the night of her wedding sent shockwaves through the media and public, but nothing could prepare anyone for the revelations that came next. Less than 72 hours after the murder, Dubai police made their move. Using forensic evidence, security footage, and testimony from hotel staff and family members, they arrested the groom, 33-year-old Khalid Al-Mansour. The evidence was damning. The bride's blood was found on his clothing. Security footage captured him leaving the hotel suite alone. And the murder weapon, A blood-stained marble statue from the suite's decor was discovered in the bathroom, wiped clean, but not thoroughly. At the police station, Khalid at first denied everything. He told investigators that his wife, Layla, had disappeared after a heated argument, but his story changed multiple times under interrogation. When confronted with video footage and forensic results, Khalid finally broke down. His confession was cold and emotionless. Khalid revealed that on their wedding night, as he and Layla were getting ready to retire to the honeymoon suite, he received an anonymous message. It included pictures and documents from Layla's past, revealing that she had previously been married in Syria during the civil conflict, something she had never disclosed. Enraged, feeling humiliated and betrayed in front of his conservative family and powerful relatives, Khalid snapped. He accused her of lying, of defiling their marriage, and of disgracing his name. Layla tried to explain that her past had been painful and that she had no choice but to hide it to survive. But Khalid refused to listen. In a moment of uncontrollable rage, he grabbed the nearest object, a decorative marble bust, and struck her multiple times. He then cleaned himself up, staged the scene to look like a robbery, and left the hotel suite. He called Layla's family the next morning, pretending to be concerned that she hadn't returned. The trial began 3 months later in a Dubai courtroom packed with media, legal experts, and family members from both sides. Khalid showed no remorse as he stood in court, dressed in a tailored white kandura, expressionless. The prosecution painted him as a cold-blooded killer who acted not out of sudden passion, but with calculated cruelty. Layla's family flew in from Lebanon. Her father broke down during testimony, describing his daughter as a bright, resilient woman who had survived war, displacement, and trauma, only to be killed by the man she had trusted with her heart. The defense tried to argue that Khalid was pushed into emotional instability by the revelations that he had been the victim of deceit, but public opinion turned fiercely against him. No past secret, people argued, justified murder. After weeks of proceedings and dramatic courtroom scenes, the jury delivered its verdict: guilty of first-degree murder. The judge sentenced Khalid to life in prison without the possibility of parole. As he was led away in handcuffs, he did not turn back to look at Layla's grieving family. Layla's death sparked widespread discussions across the Middle East about honor, secrecy, trauma, and justice. Social media was flooded with posts demanding stronger laws to protect women, even those with hidden pasts. Many saw Layla as a symbol of how society's obsession with control, purity, and reputation could lead to devastating consequences. Her story was covered by major international outlets. Documentaries were planned. Her portrait, taken just days before the wedding, became a haunting symbol of stolen innocence. In the end, justice was served. But for Layla's family, no sentence could bring back the vibrant, hopeful woman who had dared to dream of a new beginning. Justice was served, but the scars remain. What do you think? Was this tragedy inevitable, or could it have been prevented? Speech Balloon, tell us your thoughts in the comments. Pushpin if you found this story chilling. There's more where that came from. Backhand index pointing right, hit that like button. Subscribe for more real-life mysteries. And turn on the bell so you never miss a case that shakes the world. Movie Camera, this was Dark Truths. Until next time, stay safe and stay curious.